Hi there. Welcome to the Contemplate Show. In this show, we try to answer life's trickiest questions in the best way possible. We educate, inform, and encourage individuals to achieve their goals. On this episode, we're having Sofia Chaala. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Enoch. It's such a great privilege to be back on the Contemplate Show, enjoying every episode coming from here. We are learning absolutely everything, food, on purpose, on everything. So this is a great place to be at, and I'm absolutely grateful to be part of this great work. Yeah.
Thank you, Sofia.
Yeah.
On this episode 13, we'll be talking about a very interesting topic, and we'd like to know your point of view. Self-authenticity, being your true self. How can one be their true self?
Oh, Enoch, I absolutely love the topic of authenticity. I do believe this is a question that we should be daily asking ourselves in the different areas that we find ourselves, be it in our homes, at the workplace. We must daily ask ourselves, am I being authentic? Now, we can find so much out there on, how we can get to a place of authenticity. However, I have a very shortcut to it, Enoch. I do believe authenticity is, rather than asking yourself, how can I be authentic? Look for things that make you feel inauthentic. What is actually making you feel inauthentic right now? Sometimes you can be in an environment and it's just that lack of balance that you're feeling in a conversation with someone. Not feeling grounded in an activity that you are participating in. It just tells you that you shouldn't be doing that activity, or you shouldn't be talking to that person, or you should not be involved in that business deal that you're getting into. So sometimes it can be hard to remember the many guidelines of being authentic. The easier way for me, how I do it, is I ask myself, right now, do I feel authentic with this thing that I'm doing? In this conversation that I'm having with Enoch, do I feel authentic? And that's what actually brings me to the center of being an authentic person. So ask yourself next time you're in a situation, in a business deal, in a relationship with someone, do you feel like you're being yourself? And that's one way of knowing that you should be with someone in a relationship. Just ask yourself, do I feel like I'm being myself with this person? Am I being forced to wear a persona when I am being with this person? That in itself is an authentic question to ask yourself that can bring you to the place of authenticity.
This topic is sensitive and very, very complex because if I behave a certain way, what if it has a detrimental impact on our relationship? Yeah, using the example you gave, you said people should not be scared, or they should be authentic.
Yes.
So, but if they are in a situation where their true self might not be received properly, they needed to adjust a bit.
Okay.
What do you have to say about that?
So all right. So you are trying to get yourself to a place of authenticity, and you feel that you need to adjust yourself in a specific relationship or in a situation. That's a good question, Enoch, because I think one of the reasons why people find it very difficult to get to a place of authenticity is they feel, now how will I be taken if I respond a different way in this conversation? How will people take it when I tell them I cannot keep up with this habit when I am with them? How will people feel if I change the topic and take it in this direction, which is usually not what they know me to be like? A place of authenticity, Enoch, the definition of authenticity in itself, Oxford Dictionary of authenticity, is that you are an undisputed original, of undisputed original. You are genuine. There is no copy of you. So when you feel you constantly have to copy others, you constantly have to align with the habits of others. When a person feels they constantly have to do what other people are doing, they are stepping out of line of their own authenticity. And that is actually a good place to be at. When you feel uncomfortable, all of a sudden you feel uncomfortable in this situation because you have a different point of view and you are being stirred up to get to a place where you are centered and you are being authentic. We go through those situations every day, because culture, it expects us to be a certain way. You'll find in highly cultural settings, they'll say, oh no, but a girl doesn't do that. A girl should be studying this and not mechanical engineering. And yet this girl, all she thinks about the whole day is cars. And when she sees a car, she gets excited, and that's where she wants to be, and all she wants to do is talk about cars. But then she cannot express herself authentically, because if she's in her cultural setting, she's expected to want to study or be something that is out of the very thing that she wants to be.
Let's say you're a quiet person.
Yes.
You don't know how to get into small talks.
Yes.
And then you're in an environment where they just need you to keep saying something, or else there's something wrong. So you find yourself pushing, but that's not your person.
Exactly. So it comes back to what I was saying. Society's expectations sometimes can make us become inauthentic. Society's definitions of who we are can make us become inauthentic. So how does a person like that navigate through a situation like that? I always say, get to a place where you are self-aware of who you are. Be self-aware of the environments that you are engaging yourself in. Be aware of the things that you are made to say. Are you being forced to say those things because that is what they expect you to say? Are you being forced to be that kind of person, or to develop or to get into that career because of what people expect you to become? When you are at that place where you can become self-aware, Enoch, it's very important, because that's actually the beginning of one developing their authenticity. A place of self-awareness. Who am I hanging out with? What am I saying to myself? When I look in the mirror, what do I think of myself? Because sometimes we look in the mirror, they're just us in the room, but still we're not being truthful with who we are. So the topic of authenticity for me as a coach, Enoch, I often ask people, who are you? If you can ask yourself that question, who am I? There will be less sticky situations of, what am I expected to say here? What am I expected to do here? Because when you walk in your authenticity, people begin to feed off your authenticity. People begin to be encouraged by your authenticity. People begin to see you and who you are in the light of your authenticity. So you will rarely be caught up in a situation where you are expected to sound a certain way, expected to look a certain way.
Now, yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
How do you now find yourself in terms of achieving your goals?
Yeah.
Because it looks like the baseline is you need to know yourself.
Yes.
You need to be self-aware.
Yes.
So can you walk us through the process of, let's say there's someone who doesn't know themselves. They find themselves in different scenarios. They're just coping.
Mm-hmm.
How can they, with your knowledge, put in these tools, or how can they find themselves?
That's a good question, Enoch. Over the years, I've been coaching a lot of women, different people, but majority women. And I think one of the things, that I've found to be very sensitive in dealing with people is actually asking them, who are you? And it has broken some women when I've asked them that question, because sometimes they have lived under the persona of what a society expects them to be. They have lived under the persona of what their partner in marriage or in a relationship expects them to be, or even what their children expect them to be. Some women wear the cape of supermom, and they're expected to be a supermom every day from Monday to Friday, cooking the perfect meals, doing the school drop-offs, and doing everything. And there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes there are some women who found themselves grounded in being a super mom, and that is their title. So the question to ask yourself, if you are trying to get to a place of authenticity, is, do I live by the title Mrs.? Do I live by the title Peter's mom? This person's mom. Wherever I go, I'm being announced as this person's mom, because that is all I find my being in. And there's nothing wrong. We can be great mothers and all, but there's more to us. I do believe on the Contemplate Show, we have touched on purpose. It's very important for us. If you can search one of the shows, I do believe one of your guests talked about purpose. Very important for people to find out what their purpose is, The place of authenticity is a place where if you find yourself being defined by culture and or your workplace defines you a certain way, then there's something wrong with that, because you, at the core of who you are, is what you've been called to in this life, your calling. What is your calling? That is the place of authenticity. That is the place of authenticity. So we can have jobs, we can have careers, but we also have a calling, And a lot of us can exercise our calling in our workplaces, and that brings a lot of balance. For instance, I've been an educator for many years, and I have found that the most satisfaction that I have found when I was the years that I was working and doing a lot of teaching were the years that I identified that beyond teaching, I could actually impart and I could actually coach my students. So I was exercising my calling within my job. And I found that those days that I did that were my most fulfilling days. So I'm not asking anybody to give up their job or to give up their career to now pursue their calling, because a lot of times you could be actually working in your job and actually fulfilling your calling in there until a time comes that you could actually exit and fulfill your calling in a different way. So I'm going to bring you to a place of calling, Enoch.
Yeah, fantastic. So how do people cope where there is rejection, where you have to fit in, the fear of rejection? How can self-authenticity navigate that terrain of rejection?
All right, that's a good question. So sometimes, like you are saying, a person can be rejected. For instance, today, I realized that, you know what, I'm picking myself up. I know what I've been called to in this life, and I want to truly listen to myself, and I want to truly walk on a path that I can be fulfilled in this life, because I don't have to be like another person. I don't have to do other things that other people are doing, because when I was created as an original, as a genuine person. I was never, even if I was born, I'm a twin, I'm a triplet, I'm a quadruplet, I'm part of 4, I'm part of 5. I am still an original. On my own, I'm still an original. When you talk to parents of triplets or of kids that were born, 9 of them at the same time, they will tell you all of them are different. All of them have a different character. So how does someone overcome the fear of being authentic? It comes to trusting the voice within you, because at the core of everything that you are, there is a real person within you who has a voice.
I believe it's something that I think people struggle with. Again, you talked about culture and environment, arguments over issues, politics, or even different point of view, and staying true, being your authentic self, and is not being used against you or not suited for that environment.
Okay. All right. That's good. Now, that's a very good question, because as you were talking, yes, so you'll find that people who have broken out and they know who they are. I'll always come back to that point. Knowing who you are is so important. And unfortunately, sometimes when people get to discover who they are and they walk in their authenticity, sometimes they may not watch their words, and sometimes they may say things a bit too, they may be too rash on their mouth, and they may say things that may not be well received by the other person. So I will encourage people, as you are walking on the path of authenticity, it's very good for us to adopt some wisdom. Wisdom will be should walk very hand in hand with you as you are developing your authentic self, because you will realize that you are a different person. You are a unique person. All right, you are not a copy. So your communication style may be different. The way you convey information may be different according to just the fact that you are a very different person. But does it mean that we should say something that may offend the other person? No, we must take time to think. Yes, I want my friend to also walk in their authenticity. They are wearing a jacket that is in fashion and they want to keep up with the trend that is going on right now. But you know what? That jacket doesn't really sit well on them. You must think for a moment, what words will I choose to tell this person? Because at the end of the day, something that I closely relate to authenticity is actually compassion. Okay, so getting on the path of authenticity actually demands that you are compassionate. You will find that people who are not compassionate with themselves, they fail to be compassionate with other people. People who fail to self-love often will hurt other people. There's a famous saying that says, hurt people hurt people. So if a person is hurt and it bothers them that they look at other people and other people are authentic, they constantly want to bring other people down because themselves don't want to take up the responsibility of finding out who they are. So look, there are so many layers as to why a person could be hurting another person. It could be that they have trauma from their childhood. It could be so many reasons. But one of the things closely related to authenticity is compassion. A lot of times why a lot of people fail to be authentic with themselves, is because they just fail to be compassionate with themselves. Yes, you went through trauma at one point in your life. It could have been in your childhood, or it could have been in certain relationships that you got into. But have you healed from that? Have you developed a healing plan that can get you to be compassionate with yourself, to say, you know what, I hurt, but I need to heal. Because without healing, it's very impossible to get to a place of authenticity. Because a person who is not healed will constantly want to cover the truth about themselves. They will constantly search for validation from other people. They will constantly hurt other people to get strength for themselves, to feel stronger. It's like a bully in school. Why some children get bullied in school is because the bully is a hurt human being. So every time I'm coaching children about bullies in class, I tell them, you must empathize with the bully. It's not that they want to hurt you. It's not that they they actually hate your hair or they hate what you're wearing or anything, it's because they are hurting and they need to be healed. So empathize with the bully. Don't take the bullying, but empathize with them first before you actually get the solution. The solution is not to hit them back, but the solution is to empathize with them and actually find a solution for them to get help for. So when a person fears, when a person is fearing to express their authenticity, it means they're also not practicing compassion within themselves. There's got to be a place.
Could that be wisdom?
Sorry?
Because just like, could that be wisdom?
Yes. Yes.
You know, just like you were talking about the bully and stuff.
Yes.
During my high school,
yes.
I don't know if you went to boarding school. I went to boarding school.
Yes.
And, you know, there were seniors who actually left their schoolwork. They were so immersed in, you know, punishing junior students.
Yes.
And we were junior students then in the hostel. And, you know, it was really brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got to, then we call it the final year
mm-hmm.
in high school,
mm-hmm.
and I was the head boy,
mm-hmm.
and I'm standing in front of all the students. I'm like, what was in this position? Some of them were not even prefects, some of them were just final year students, but they punished, you know, us so much that, you know, when I stood there, I was trying to find out what exactly were they trying to. Is this not the final year? Is there any other final year? They haven't changed, you know. So even when junior students were like, "No, I can help you, Enoch," I'm like, "No, that's fine. I'll take it. I'll take it." Because in my mind, I'm like, why do I have to? Because you are a junior student, then I just make your life miserable.
Yeah.
And that's how they made our lives miserable. You know, so with whole lots of punishments and things like that.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's really hard to fine tune, to work with some people, because some people are just toxic, and those bullies as kids become bullies in the office.
They do.
You know, just the way they say, "Oh, just leave him, he's a fool." But sometimes I realized lately that even fools get old, so he can be an old fool.
Isn't that amazing, Enoch? A fool graduates from a young fool to an old fool. That is so true.
So I didn't realize, because I'll be like, this person is old, is elderly. Why are you thinking? What are you saying?
Oh my goodness. You know what you've said, you know, is so amazing. And that's why I often tell people, you know, even mothers, I tell them, you know, developing an authentic relationship with your children is also listening to your children and realizing that wisdom has also been bestowed upon our children. And sometimes we can miss it, because sometimes our children, you know, they say some very wise things to us, but we miss it because we think, oh, this is a child, they cannot say anything to us. Why I'm saying this, the same thing you've said. A bully can be in a primary school, but they graduate and they find themselves in an office. Just like a child can be wise in the home, and one day they'll find themselves in the office of the president. And when you ask the mother of that president to say, tell us about this child's, president's childhood, the mother will say, from the time they were 5 years old, they were very wise. You know, they could tell us things. They could learn proverbs and remind us of proverbs. And so, authenticity can be gained from any level, you know. So the bully has not gotten to a place of authenticity. That fool we are talking about has not taken time to develop authenticity. But you know what? Even in our homes, I often tell mothers, for us to develop sound, authentic relationships with our children, we must learn to listen to them. You know, when we get to a place of listening as well, that fear, it disappears. Because sometimes we are fearful to express our authenticity to people because we are only thinking of ourselves. But when we think, who am I in this picture of this community? Who am I in this picture of this church I belong to? Who am I in this picture of this family I belong to? You begin to exercise wisdom, listening more than talking. We've got 2 ears to listen more than to talk. And I put that as one way of becoming authentic. Listen more to people and hear their perspectives. And when you hear more of other people's perspectives, what happens is you begin to develop a more authentic way of dealing with different situations and different people, and that fear disappears altogether.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Sophia. We'll take a little break and we'll come back on the Contemplate Show and go away.
Thank you.
All right, we're back. Still on the Contemplate Show, episode 13 with Sophia. All right, Sophia, we have 2 more questions before we let you go. We know you're a very busy person, and thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Now, with relationships, individuals who are struggling in relationships, in trying to be their authentic self, what advice would you give them?
Okay, in our relationships, struggling to be authentic.
Yes. So say for instance, a couple, the spouse has probably identified some things, probably she's not happy with some things, or he's not happy with some things, said it the first time, said it the second time, the third time, I was like, you know what, I'll just let it go.
Yeah.
And it's so how can you still keep that relationship and be, because you're not happy, you want to say, I don't think you should go for this meeting, or I don't think you should travel for this long, but in order to keep peace, now not being your authentic self. So what would be your advice?
All right. It's a sad reality, and it does happen in a lot of relationships. It's happening in a lot of homes. It's very important for us to understand when something is happening like that. Okay, for a person who's listening to this and you're not in a relationship yet, because we would rather you start right than we get to a place of fixing. All right, so how do we start right? One, you can, let's be careful in how we pick our life partners. There's someone who said picking your life partner is the most important decision of your life, because you spend the bulk of your life as a mature person with them, and you will have children with them, and all your future hopes and plans are going to be shared with this person. So please be very careful in the selection process. And when you are picking someone, when you start your relationship, create a set of values, a value system that you're going to live up. Ask each other, what is your perception? What is your perspective on finance? What is your perspective on travel? What is your perspective? What do you think and what do you believe about us spending time apart when we're in a relationship? What do you think? What are the values that we're going to have with our children? So that many years down the line, if we are having issues with our children, or issues with travel and spending time apart, or with health, and so because we established those in the foundations, we are able to come back to those things that we discussed and apply those things in the relationship. So we would have had a guide to use. Now, okay. This is a relationship where nothing was established from the start. There were no value systems that were established, and they're having these issues. It's never too late to sit down. What happens, unfortunately, Enoch, is over time people become so separate and they become so selfish. It's about me, 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 me. The other person doesn't understand me. If they can only listen to me. I once was talking to a lady. She was in a trouble in her relationship, and you know what she said? She said, I am always right, he is always wrong, he should listen to me. That's a place of selfishness. That's the place of selfishness. I think before the break, we talked about the importance of listening. Sometimes when we listen to the person, we will understand why they are doing what they are doing. It could be that there has been a breakdown because something has not been going right in the relationship, and we have not given this person the time to say why they are doing what they are doing, or why they are saying what they are saying. So listening is a very important aspect in a relationship. Re-establishing the values in the relation can bring that relationship back to its authentic self from the start of the relationship. So very important to develop very sound lines of communication. When you feel you can't talk to the other person, that is a big red flag. Why is communication a difficulty? When it's hard to communicate with the other person, start with the conversation of how can we communicate with each other? Do we need to take time out of the house, away from the children, or away from our busy schedules? Do we need to take a holiday every 3 months to go away and actually communicate? So there's got to be an investment in communication, because unfortunately when two people are growing apart, they become each other's enemies, and they ask themselves, why did I even end up in this place? What did I find? Why am I with this person? Who is this person? And next time you look at yourself in the mirror and you're asking yourself, who am I? And that's why we come back to your authentic self is who you truly are. And if you can't exercise who you truly are in your relationship, then it's trouble. Try to come back to who you are. Ask yourself, who was I when this person met me? How was I like? How was I communicating? Can we come back to that place? And it can be a hard one, but it can be done. It can be done.
Finally, before we let you go, how can people build confidence, to be their authentic self?
All right. How we can build confidence, Enoch, is I will always tell people in your journey of authenticity, self-love. Have compassion on yourself. Love yourself. I'm a self-care coach. I always say self-care is equals to self-love. When you take care of yourself, take care of your thoughts, take care of what you put in your mouth, take care of your hydration, taking care of what you see. You don't have to watch every movie that is released. Taking care of what you listen. Because see, when you expose yourself to too many toxic things, whether it's what you're putting in your mouth, smoking, or whether what you're injecting into your body, or what you are looking at, or what you are listening to, all these things are being absorbed into you, and that is developing, it's actually creating a you that you never even thought you would create, So when you are a person who's addicted to something, it's very hard to be confident, because you're constantly wearing a shield. You're constantly covering your addiction from other people. When you are a person who is constantly listening to toxic music, it's very hard for you to be confident, because you are constantly exercising by expressing the negative things that are coming out of that music that you are listening to. So it's very hard for you to be confident if you do not expose yourself to positive things. Exposing yourself to positive things is watching what's coming out of your mouth, watching what you are watching, what you are seeing with your physical eye, watching what's entering your heart as well, watching the friendships that you are associated, because sometimes you have a friendship group and they do not exercise confidence, so there is no way. There's a saying that says birds of the same feathers flock together. So you can't be in a friendship group of people who are not confident and you try to be confident. It's very impossible. You can't be in a home where everybody is toxic and you try to be confident. That is quite impossible, unless you try to break out of that. So love yourself by finding yourself in the right group, right circles, doing the right things, moving away from bad habits. Developing good habits is a bit of a job, but it can be done. You just need to be committed to it. But love yourself. Take care of yourself. And you will become authentic when you take care of yourself. Yeah.
Thank you, Sofia. That was quite a lot to digest. I believe our viewers will have a lot of information they can use. And what are your final words or any recommendations or books that our viewers can read?
All right. Now, if you are a believer, I would strongly suggest that you connect with yourself through prayer. Okay? A place of prayer is a place of finding yourself. A place of connecting with your Creator is a place of finding who you truly are. Because remember, at the core of who you are a spirit man first. All right, so you are a spirit living in a body that has a soul. So at the core of who you are as a human being is you are spirit first. Okay, so operating in the spiritual realm means that you are at a place of prayer, you are at a place of meditation, you are at a place of desiring spiritual things. That is actually who you are. A place of understanding your calling is a place of developing faith and hearing what you need to be doing in this life and walking according to your calling. So I will urge you, connect with your spirit man by praying, by meditating. I will encourage you to connect yourself with other Christians who are praying. Because some of the things I've mentioned, like addictions and getting into wrong habits and everything, they can only be done in a place where you are with people who are positive, who are also engaged in the Word of God and doing the things that are spiritual. You know, the Bible says to be spiritually minded is life and peace. So a place of peace, a place of life is a place of authenticity, because many look for that place. So activate your spirit man by praying, activate your spirit man by finding yourself in a place of worship with other believers, activate your spirit man by being in a place of quiet. People who are not authentic are scared to be in a quiet place because they are scared of hearing and they are scared of knowing who they are and hearing their own thoughts. So a place of quiet is a very good place to be at in your journey of finding authenticity. Those will be my final words. And today I'd like you to ask yourself, who am I? Who am I? If your makeup is what defines who you are, take that makeup off. Take your wig off. Take those fancy clothes off. Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, who am I? I have a spiritual self-care course that I'm about to launch. It's going to be a 4-week course, and these are some of the things that I'll be helping women with, asking themselves who they are and getting down to the nitty-gritties on how they can actually identify themselves and walk in the light of whom they have been called to be. Yeah.
Fantastic. So how can people register for this course, and what are your social media handles?
Yes, so you can get onto my website, igniteimage.net. So this is Ignite Image Network, but the website is igniteimage.net. And or if you want to quickly find me, you can go onto my Instagram and find me at Sofia, the self-care coach. Sofia is the Sofia, the self-care coach, and you will find my other links to my other work that I do. And I'll be more than happy to work with you, because every woman, every person deserves to walk in their authentic self. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sofia. We've come to the end of episode 13. For those of you who are just joining us for the very first time, please go back to our past episodes and see what you would like to learn. We have different guests every episode, and people like Sofia are so resourceful, so we bring them back in. If you have any topic you want us to treat, please put it in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe. I'm your host, Enoch Ogi, and bye for now.